Just putting together a quick little debunk of this wonderful anti-flat earther meme that someone has given to me. This nice infographic, because Glovers don't know how to meme. So I'm just going to be going over the aspects of this. The conclusions and the possibilities, of course, are outrageous. They conclude a whole bunch of different absurd things without concluding the actual answer, which I'll get to in just a moment. So this says that, measuring the distance of this triangle, which is from east to west of the continent of Australia, and measured back to the North Pole, they completed this triangle, computed the distances, and got this explanation. So I mean, first of all, as everyone knows, the distances on the Gleason's map from southern points to other southern points that this is measuring are completely skewed. That is not what the map is used for. That is not a fair use of the tool as it was described in the patent. It only measures distance accurately from the ruler provided in the map if you bought it. Right, from this point there's a ruler and it measures out to any other point from the north, and in that way uses the globular longitude lines to accurately measure distances in any point. It cannot, however, measure this point to this point or this point to this point, because distances point to point are not accurate on this map because of the nature of the tool. If you look at these globular longitude and latitude lines that Gleason had to employ based on given to him from the Royal Society when he applied for the patent, as you cannot make a map without using these longitude and latitude grid system coordinates. You can see in the south, these squares representing a longitude latitude grid line are much bigger than their counterparts in the north. You see this? These are much bigger out here because it is skewed. Because of these lines are inherited from the globe, it is just the globe flattened out. The distances in the south do not work using this map. I'm not going to say it's a straw man to use the map. I'm a good believer of using a tool. If you know the pluses and minuses of the tool, the benefits and disadvantages, you can accurately employ the tool with no issues. However, if you don't know those disadvantages, it can be used against you, so be careful. But in this case, this is not what this map is used for. It cannot measure southern distances, so every time they say triumphantly that this distance doesn't match, therefore Earth isn't flat, you should have a little chuckle, because it's pretty funny. So as for sunrise angles, here we are on Bisland's model. It's centered over Western Australia. It's on October 12, 2021. If you don't know how to use Bisland's model, the green ones move observer lat and longitude. I've centered it over Western Australia using those two. And then you can move the time forward, and the time will move the sun and the moon over the observer, if you see. Right, so as it moves, this is sunrise. Right here, it pops up on the observer, and it says this is the azimuth, and this is the elevation that you would observe at sunrise. As for directions, right, everywhere away from the center is south, because north is the center. So over here we have this one is north, south, east, west. It rises a little bit south of east, and it sets, if you notice, a little bit south of west, right? Just like this shows. Boop, and there it's gone, can't be seen. There it sets, and it can't be seen. And it sets, and it can't be seen. So these angles, observation angles, match observations, match reality. If we look at solar noon, it would be right about when the sun's above it. So that's why we say the sun is over here, but the relative position to the observer is seen over here, a little bit at a different inclination, a different elevation angle, right? So each observer sees this sun in a different spot depending on where they are. If we move, we're not changing the time, we're not moving the sun, but if we move this observer, say to Eastern Australia, look what happens. You see? Just like timeanddate.com, just like Witsit put forth in his azimuthal grid of observability, the elevation angle is changing. You see now it's at azimuth 294, elevation 72.5. Here, let's go up so you can see that. So all over Australia, this is all the same time. So this is solar noon for this guy, not so over here. Now again, this uses the Gleason's map as the base, which is a globular projection using globular longitude and latitude lines, which means that this continent is not this wide, because as we pointed out before, these longitude and latitude grid lines are much bigger than at the center, because there's the nature of a circle, right? So super easy to understand, super easy concept. Earth's flat. And real quick, I'm just going to play a couple seconds of Durf's video that's deep inside the rabbit hole, David Weiss's video. Using the same model, they called it the personal atmospheric dome with a pad. I personally don't like that because it invokes the concept of a dome, and then you have Globers asking if they can see the same star if your personal firmament touches their firmament, which is, absurd and ludicrous. So that's why I like the terminology azimuthal grid of observability, which it likes as azimuthal grid of vision. That mean essentially the same thing. It is the same thing as this concept as well, but I'll just play a couple minutes of this video. I just want to note that they show the laser tank of the bendy light to mimic what this Walter Bisson's supposed bendy light is doing, and I don't think that's the right tactic. I think that you should just argue that the light actually doesn't bend in physical reality and tangible reality. It's only an optical effect that it appears to bend, and that kind of solves the issue, nips it right in the bud. Even though I do like this animation of the light bending, it actually doesn't have to bend in reality to match our observations. So.
Someone please help me disprove this bullshit. Fuck! This is so depressing. I can't be a flat earth person. This is... I mean, I can't be a flat earth person.